Carol, I've been watching Treme, the HBO series about New Orleans. David Simon, the guy that did The Wire. Oh, you don't know about Treme? Great New Orleans music, great characters, strong female characters, I should add. Yeah, there have been 4 seasons. The first 3 are out on DVD. Treme has been really good. I'm in the middle of the 2nd season. Can we scoot this way a little bit? No? What? That? Welcome. Hi. We're back. After a few weeks of being out because of the ice and snow, sorry. You doing all right? It's going to be freezing again tonight? Something like that? We got a lot to talk about. But first, I want to mention a couple good movies. Carol, you know I like Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Okay. Oh, she goes, okay. What? Who doesn't like Joseph Gordon-Levitt? Especially Joseph Gordon-Levitt as a porn addict, right? You heard about his new movie? No. Don John. He's a New Jersey porn-addicted guy. And you know, it's not, he wrote it and directed it, and it's really good. I got it courtesy of one of our sponsors, North American Video, and I thought, well, it's a vanity project, right? Like, you know how they do. Hollywood actors get a lot of money. I want to direct. I'd like to direct. I'm talented as a director. But you know what? This is really a well-directed movie. Don John. Scarlett Johansson's in it, Carol, as a wisecracking Jersey girl. Like her. She's real. The scene outside her apartment, the sex scene outside her apartment, is really hot. No, I'm serious. The sex scene between Scarlett Johansson and Joseph Gordon-Levitt outside her apartment door, her front door, is quite hot. I defy you not to laugh, too, during that sex scene. That's pretty good, Carol, right? Yeah. A sex scene that makes you laugh out loud and goes, oh my God, she's incredible. You got to admire a woman like that, right? And go, whoo, fan yourself here, fan yourself. Woo, that's a hot scene. Yeah, okay, I'm so excited my mouth is not matching up my words. So what are we talking about? Movies. Oh, there's one other one I like. And we'll review these more in depth. There's, Mads Mikkelsen, he plays Hannibal, Carol. You know the guy that plays Hannibal? Yeah. I watched a couple episodes, I thought it was kind of dumb. Hannibal's gonna call a killer from this phone. The cop who's right next to him somehow can't trace the call, where it came from. Bah! They lost me right there, monkeys. But Mads Mikkelsen plays Hannibal, and he's in a Danish movie. Just came out on DVD, I think December, but recently. I saw it by walking, you walk up and down the walls at the video store, North American Video. You walk up and down the walls, you see oh, that looks interesting. It's about a child abuse accusation that rips apart a community. Yep. It's called The Hunt. The Hunt. Mads Mikkelsen, the guy that plays Hannibal, plays this divorced father, who gets accused of sexual molestation. It's an incredible movie, incredibly intense, good movie. So, I've linked to them before, I'll link to them again. So what do we got now, Carol? Oh, yes, yes. Do not let the weather stop you from First Friday. Think of the artists. Think of all the work they're putting in right now at the last minute to get their shows up. Think of how late they're going to be up Thursday night. You know those artists, Carol. Every gallery owner I've talked to has this problem. The artists are like, yeah, oh yeah, and then deadlines. We all need deadlines, right, Carol? Carol's like, no, not really. I think anyway, the first Friday is this Friday. All the galleries are going to be showing their new stuff. And even if it's a little cold, not quite the springtime First Friday, springtime, when everybody comes out and the artists all, yay, yay, everybody's out, nobody cares about the art, they're all just eating our food. You know that? Come on, come out in February, First Friday. It'll be good. Lots of good galleries have good shows. Lump Gallery, Flanders will have something. It's just good stuff all around. Go to one gallery Friday night, even if it's cold. How's that? Then, Carol, Saturday, Tomorrow Monday. or the Moral Saturday, or something. The Moral March. They're thinking it's going to be the biggest march in the South since Selma in 1965, Carol. Yep. They're thinking it's going to be huge. People are being bussed from all over. Carol, you know, North Carolina's ground zero. North Carolina's ground zero in this struggle to buy elections. The Koch brothers, Art Pope, all those guys, getting rid of all constraints on spending in elections. Richest person wins. Yep. This ties into Clay Aiken, ties into the state Supreme Court, and I'm going to turn it over to the other monkey right here. Oh man, that's hard work. It really is. Ow, ow. And I'm not very good at it, too, which makes it even worse, Carol, because it doesn't just hurt my arm, it pains my heart. So, no, it doesn't. I don't give two craps about what you think about my puppetry skills. But, okay, maybe half a crap about what you think of my puppetry skills. But I'm slowly trying to get better. I really did practice this week on puppetry stuff. No, I'm lying. Don't believe anything I say. I'm a liar. So anyway, what are we talking about? But I promise I'll practice next week. So here's the thing. Why is North Carolina ground zero? Because there's all kinds of weird things that have happened. Can we put up let's put up number 7, Carol. I know these next 3 words are going to bore you to tears, but State Supreme Court, they've already checked out, click. Yeah. State Supreme Court races happening this year are going to be key to the future of North Carolina, okay? There's a great article that I link at my Twitter page from one of the people at the NC Policy Watch. I don't always agree with everything NC Policy Watch says. Sometimes they seem a little quick without backing themselves up with facts, but then that's very rare, very rare. Occasionally, you know, they're angry, I understand that, but you really got to always, although who am I to say that? Anyway, I often agree with NC Policy Watch and think that they're really incredible people doing great work and worth supporting financially as well as mentally. But they have a great piece up that summarizes what happened in the North Carolina State Supreme Court race, the race for Chief Justice, where there was the Democrat was leading. You're not supposed to call them Democrats or Republicans. It's a nonpartisan race, whatever that means, because everybody knows the party affiliations anyway. And at the last minute, all of this money from Art Pope and right-wing foundations, many of them from out of state, poured into the race and got a Republican in. So we now have a 5-4 Republican-Democrat state Supreme Court, right? Which we would have had a 5-4 the other way, where we would have had a better chance to fight back on some of the redistricting stuff and just generally on some of the crap being shoved through by Art Pope and his pals, right? Tom Tillis and all those guys. So it's a good summary of what happened before, and it focuses it handicaps the races that are coming up, or gives you information about the races that are coming up. Remember the state Supreme Court races in 2014. As you look at what you can do, going out Saturday to the February 8th Moral March is a great thing to do. And I linked to another article from Rob Schofield, he's fantastic at NC Policy Watch, talking about, look, you don't have to be scared. There's no civil disobedience planned for Saturday. Right, Carol? Anytime, any black-clad, black-masked anarchist going to come in, there's a plan to beat them down, hustle them away. No, I'm just kidding. Come on, anarchists, don't screw with the Moral March on February 8th. But generally, it's going to be, there's no civil disobedience planned, and they're so inspirational. Could not tell you how inspirational the Moral Mondays, especially the last Moral Monday on Fayetteville Street Mall. It was huge. And even if you don't go on Saturday, what you can do is start thinking about what you're going to do. It's already a month into 2014. The November election's 10 months away. Art Pope and his people are planning. What can you do in your own small little way to make sure that we at least stop them from advancing any further? The chances of us pushing them back a lot this year are kind of tough, but stop them, block them from pushing North Carolina any further to the right. This is what you need to be thinking about. So keep the state Supreme Court races in mind. If you're free on Saturday, go to the Moral March and meet with people, network with people, talk to people. and think about what you can do to help out, making phone calls, doing whatever, to push back against the Republican tide in North Carolina. This is a test case state. Everybody who's saying at the national level the Republicans are over, they can't, just because they can't win the presidential race, there's a very good chance that we're going to see a Republican sweep of the Senate in 2014. And that means they'll have the Senate and the House. Every little thing we can do, get Clay Aiken into the House, get Renee Ellmers out, because she's just a rubber stamp for the big party interests. We know that now, even though she knows she shouldn't be doing some of the things she's doing. She says this. Yeah, it's wrong. She does it anyway because her bosses in Washington tell her to do it. Right? She's a good little girl. Good little boy, there's all kind, that's not sexist. I'm just saying she's being a good little girl to the Republican National, or the Tea Party folks that control the far right wing of the Republican Party. She's being a good little girl to them, even when she knows it's wrong. That's what Clay Aiken's going to do. Now, the Washington Post posted something today about, can we talk about Clay Aiken? Carol, it's number 6. The Washington Post posted something on one of their blogs today about 3 reasons Clay Aiken doesn't have a chance in hell, because the district went 58% for Mitt Romney, and it's a very red district, and even Democrats in redder districts, bluer districts than that, are dropping out across the country, blah, blah, blah. That's all completely irrelevant. Well, it's relevant, but it's not determinative. That he doesn't have a chance is ridiculous at this point. It's completely ridiculous. Clay Aiken is going to pull at least some percent of the people, the Republicans, who would vote for Renee Ellmers. The Republicans are already going after the gay thing, Carol, right? Renee Ellmers' press secretary, I think, was the one who sent out this email, his Clay Aiken's San Francisco values. And that just doesn't play quite the way it used to in Jesse Helms' time. Jesse Helms used to use San Francisco values, Carol. That's what we're dealing with. Renee Ellmers' people are using Jesse Helms' tactics to go after Clay Aiken because he's gay. Now, maybe nothing's changed since the late 70s, mid 80s. I kind of think something's changed. There's going to be a certain percentage of people who voted for Mitt Romney, who voted for Renee Ellmers in the past, who are going to get sucked away because Clay Aiken is much more likable than Renee Ellmers, and because as more and more people have come out over the last 5 years, 10 years, more and more small-town Republican folks are no longer going to be willing, now many of them will, be willing to be fear-mongered into hating the gays again. But that's a smaller and smaller number, just like it's a smaller and smaller number of the population that's going to be fear-mongered into hating Latinos, right? And the Latino wave that's taking over America. Thank God, can't happen a moment too soon. Just think of the food, Carol. That's all I have. No. But, the idea that kids born in America should be able to have a path to citizenship, even if their parents can't. They already are citizens, but their parents, kids born, well, what am I saying? I have no idea what I'm saying. I'm rambling. So let's drop the Latinos and go back to the gays, which I know better. It's been a long day, Carol. You got to forgive me. It's been a long day. We were really busy at work today, which is really good, but that means it's a long day. But here's the thing. Clay Aiken is going to siphon off at least some of those people who would vote Republican. It's going to happen. He's got good credentials for being a local boy, and he handled fame really with class, right? I think he's got a chance. All right, so ignore the Washington Post. But the best part is that, Carol, people don't know this. People don't know this. A former head of the North Carolina Republican Party, Dan Gurley, perhaps unfortunately named, is gay. A bunch of people knew it at the time, and it was an open secret, to Dan Gurley's shame, that he kept that crap closeted while he was the head of the North Carolina Republican Party, having gay sex in his private life while heading a party. Probably in other cities, although I don't know that for sure. But Dan Gurley, maybe he was celibate too, Carol. Maybe he was celibate the entire time he was executive director of the North Carolina Republican Party. Yeah, tell me you were celibate the entire time you were the head of the North Carolina Republican Party, Dan Gurley. Maybe. But the head, the executive director of the North Carolina Republican Party, was a gay guy, a closeted gay guy for years. Then he came out after the fact, after he left. And all you journalists who knew he was gay, all you politicos who knew he was gay and helped him keep it a secret, up yours. While he's the head of an anti-gay party, he's a closeted gay guy. Anyway, he's out now. He's active now. And he nailed Renee Ellmers' people on this. You want to hear what he said? In an email to Wood, this is the woman who wrote the email attacking Clay Aiken's San Francisco values, right? Jessica Wood, it's an Ellmers spokesperson, Renee Ellmers spokesperson, Jessica Wood. I said press secretary, spokesperson, same thing. I'm sure you thought you were being clever with your statement yesterday. This is Dan Gurley, the former head of the North Carolina Republican Party, when you said the following: and Aiken, a performer whose political views more closely resemble those of San Francisco than Sanford. Well, you weren't, Dan Gurley says. You were offensive and childish. And if you worked for me or any client of mine, I'd fire you. Now, this is an openly gay former head of the North Carolina Republican Party. Surely you know better than that. You have offended many on both sides of the political aisle with your ill-thought-out comments. Not only are you uncreative, but you're small-minded. This is the former head of the North Carolina Party attacking Renee Ellmers' spokesperson. Now, maybe the San Francisco morality thing will play. It'll play for some, I'm sure. But Clay Aiken is about as homegrown as it gets. All right, no predicting, right, Carol? Too far out. But when the Washington Post says there's no way he can win, I just say, I would bet money Clay Aiken beats Renee Ellmers this year. Renee Ellmers is just too clumsy. She's just too clumsy and too unlikable. I just find it hard to believe that she will beat Clay Aiken, even in a highly red district. But boy, what a fight, huh? That's going to be a good fight to keep an eye on. Okay, so things, despite what people are saying about at the national level, to read the New York Times, you think the Republican Party is dead or dying, and they can't get their crap together. But meanwhile, from here in North Carolina, it really looks like the Republican Party is on the major upswing. And if they take over the U.S. Senate with Kay Hagan being gone, if Kay Hagan gets beaten by Tom Tillis and all this outside money that's pouring in, right? And that's how I love, they're going to go after Clay Aiken for the outside money that's going to pour into his campaign, Carol. Meanwhile, all this outside money is pouring in against Kay Hagan. Did I say that right? I think so. Clay Aiken? Okay. Clay Aiken, Kay Hagan, it's so easy to get confused. Plus, did I tell you I had a long day? I'll come back on the Latino stuff and clarify that. You're born here, you're a citizen, right? So what am I talking about? I'm talking about people who children that are brought here. Thank you, Carol. That's what I'm talking about. Come on, you do the same. Children that are brought here and then go to school here, go to high school, junior high school, not getting a chance to be in-state residents. That's just insanely mean. It's just mean. It's just mean-spirited. It's evil stuff, that kind of anti-immigrant sentiment. And hopefully, as that declines, and we're going to see that decline, there'll be other things that decline as well. Okay, the Obamacare thing. Can we put up number 5? This cracks me up. You've seen this, right? The Congressional Budget Office put out this thing that said, hey, some people are going to quit working now that Obamacare's in. And the Republicans have jumped on this. But, Carol, this is a feature. Because what we're talking about is people voluntarily stopping work at jobs where the only reason they had the job is because it gave them health insurance, and if they quit the job, they'd have to go on their own to find health insurance. And if you have diabetes, and you're at a job that gives health insurance, you got diagnosed with diabetes while you were on the job, you leave that job before Obamacare, right? Even if it's a struggle to get to work every day, you leave that job, no insurance company in the world would have given you insurance, health in America, would have given you health insurance. And so you stayed at that damn job no matter how hard it was, no matter how sick you were. You stayed at that job. Your health insurance was tied tightly to your having that job. This, for Republicans, they love this because it keeps people tied and docile to jobs they may or may not like, right? Republicans love this crap. So now that we've got something where insurance companies can no longer deny you health insurance if you got diagnosed with diabetes while you're at your job, right? Insurance companies cannot deny you that. So now, you know what? I struggle to get to work every day. Now I can get insurance not for free necessarily, but at the same rate as everybody else, right? Because they can't deny me insurance because of the illness that I already had, the pre-existing condition. And so I'm going to let the job go and focus on my health. The Republicans see this as something wrong with Obamacare, right? They're trying to paint this as it's job killing. No, it's not. It's people no longer having to struggle to hang on, to cling to jobs when they're sick, just to get the health insurance that was tied only to the job. Obamacare has opened up, this was the point, Carol, right? This was the point. One of the big points of Obamacare was to snip that connection. It doesn't do it nearly enough. But one of the big points of Obamacare was to give people the freedom to not have to cling to jobs because they couldn't get other health insurance. Now they have more options. And now if they give up the job, the Republicans are trying to say that's a negative thing? Hey, Carol, it opens up jobs. You know, hey, there's a job opening over there. You know, on so many levels, this is an obnoxious, false attack. Not surprising, it's coming from Republicans at this point. All right. Yeah, you still have to pay for the insurance. But you don't have to keep that job to get insurance that's affordable. That's the whole point. All right. All right, how much time we got? 4 minutes, okay. Can we talk about Steve Beam? Put up the words. Carol, would you mind typing this in? I didn't get a chance to do it. I thought the rest would cover this. But Steve Beam naming streets, B-E-A-M, Steve Beam naming streets for his favorite magicians is disgusting. All right, Steve Beam's the head of the Raleigh Housing Authority. There's been a lot of press lately about his pay package, his compensation. You know, I'm going to leave that aside. But we need to talk more about the 60 affordable housing units that are no longer going to be part of this. Mary Ann Baldwin tweeted at me when I argued about this on Twitter a couple weeks ago and said, look, Todd, it's really more complex. You know, whatever. The point is there are 60 fewer, I mean, by that, whatever, I mean, we'll talk about this later. There are 60 fewer affordable housing units in this housing project than there would have been. Now, Steve Beam insists that this means more money for Raleigh Housing Authority in the future, but the fact is we haven't heard from him how he's going to increase the affordable housing units to make up for the loss of the 60 yet. If we have, please give me a call. There's the number. We have not heard from Steve Beam about his plan to take those 60 affordable housing units that just got cut and somehow put them somewhere else. That's not even on the table from Steve Beam. But instead, I want to focus, we'll talk about that later, because it's complex. Mary Ann Baldwin pointed out to me it's complex. I haven't gotten back to her. I'm willing to say, okay, explain to me how complex this is and why my take on this, that this is disgusting, is wrong. But this part, how much? 2 minutes. This part, where Steve Beam renamed streets in a poor, mostly black neighborhood after his own personal favorite magicians, is completely disgusting. Completely disgusting. I don't care what those streets were named for. Maybe they were named for old white guys in the past. The fact is that duplicating that procedure where rich white guys name poor black streets just however they want is not, whoops. You see how that was my thumb catching that, is not something we should be doing. This guy decides he's a magician, and he's using his comp time to have his second magician's career. He's all over magicians forums online if you Google his name. He's the head of the Raleigh Housing Authority, been there forever. The board's like 92% white, right? There's one woman on the board. I mean, this is clearly a sign of a board that's got a problem. Thank goodness Nancy McFarland's like, yeah, maybe we need some new people on this board.
Isn't he the one that just got in trouble for taking the comp time?
Yeah, the comp time guy. This is Steve. But he's renamed. He just decides to rename the streets of this house. It's his personal housing project. Octavia Rainey, or is it Olivia Rainey? Octavia Rainey, who's a Southeast Raleigh activist and occasional council candidate back in the day. She says this is just terrible. How can this guy think that this is okay? And the fact that this isn't being stopped by Nancy McFarland and Thomas Crowder and Russ Stevenson and Marianne Baldwin and all the rest is disgusting. They need to stop those streets being named after Steve Beam's favorite magicians right away. Just stop it. All right, we'll see you next week. Take care of each other.